and we can kind of dive into some select topics here. So first, welcome to another town hall. We have KIP 17, 18, and 19 up for voting right now. So might as well just quickly drop that Twitter thread into the chat, and we can let if you haven't gone and checked out those KIPs, would love for you to go and review and vote with how you feel about these KIPs if you're a token holder. That was the wrong thing to drop. I need to get better at this. Come on, Kyle.
Every vote counts.
You know what, Tommy? I see what you're saying about lo-fi. I bet you just wanted to take a nap. That's why you wanted the lo-fi bot to play. I need a better music bot so bad. It's embarrassing. All right. So quick recap, just because I didn't actually name what the individual KIPs were. KIP 17 is our GMX collaboration. So if you want to go learn about how we're going to be coordinating with them and relaying price oracle updates, that's KIP 17. KIP 18 is about working with gamma strategies and building advanced hypervisor contracts that are powered through KeeperDAO. The key thing about both of those is that they actually don't require any of our assets for us to spin them up. So kind of excited to just see them rely solely off the tech and code that we're building. And then KIP 19 was a peso-led KIP that is going to be sunsetting the hiding vaults. And so really excited to see all three of those up right now. Looks like I'm seeing no objections on KIP 19, no objections on KIP 18, and no objections on KIP 17, all with about 17,000 or 16,000 Rook already having voted for them. And those all will be closing on the 3rd at noon Eastern time. So we still got some time if you haven't gone into Snapshot and registered your votes. You still have till the 3rd to do that. Would love to see as much participation as we can. Already seeing some good turnout there, so excited for that. Other housekeeping items, as hopefully some folks saw in our announcements, that our KIP 12 period to look towards extending KIP 12 via a draft KIP, and we'll also be writing a Q1 report that has been covering much of the past 3 months. We'll talk about goals and progress and some financials as well. But for now, in the meantime, we'll still see Joey or Jay-Z and Hazard operate as interim CTO and CEO. And really what this means is that we're not going to be making additional kind of financial decisions when it comes to, say, hiring or usage outside of what's been done for KIPs. So that's a little bit of housekeeping we have. One other announcement that we did this morning was officially announce Amber Group as one of the market makers that will be coordinating with us, also participating in the pilot program. So really excited to see some group or organization of their caliber commit to working with us on market making and driving order flow through the coordinator. So for me, really exciting announcement. And that now brings us to 2 market makers that we've announced that'll be working with us. The first one was Bastion, who we had on a community call, and really excited to see at least those 2 that we've announced go head to head. I'm just really pumped. Both groups have been fantastic to work with, and are known entities that are successful. So really happy to see that announcement go live. All right, so let me take a deep breath there, and we can pause and look at, for folks that haven't yet, if you want to see the draft on the KIP12 extension, I'm going to go on ahead and drop that in voice chat right now. I also do want to ping our fearless leader here and see if he can come in and talk about it a little bit if he's available today. Let me just send him a DM real quick. Taylor, do you have any other updates for us?
I think you ironed out all the updates except for the fact that right after this we'll be having our first ever happy hour, and so you should all attend.
Oh, actually, you know what? There also is something that I've seen you starting to work on and that we will continue to develop over the course of the next couple weeks, and that's going to be some bounties and a live bounty board as well.
Oh, yes. We will be using D-Work. I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. I've walked Wes through it. A few of you. We have already created the account. It's integrated into our server, and we are working on some bounties to hopefully launch here pretty soon. Some of them are really going to be exciting. A good way to participate. I'm holding office hours on Tuesday to kind of walk through the process. If anyone is interested in attending that, it'd be great. But I think you'll really like D-Work. I think it'll be exciting for the community as well.
Yep, and if you hadn't seen, you can go to the top right corner here of our channels thread and scroll to the top, and you'll see that we have 5 events. Obviously, there's the one right now, but office hours will be Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and you can, if you're interested, you can go ahead and RSVP for those. But it also just is a good way for us to kind of keep track of that calendar as well. So awesome, Taylor! I'm really happy and excited to see you hosting office hours and getting more feedback on this as well.
Thank you. Curious if people would prefer a SeshBot calendar event, or if this is the best way to be tracking our events. I personally like this one, but maybe we can seek feedback later.
All right. Yeah. Well, we can do that a little bit asynchronously as well. So, not hearing much from Hazard here. So, and I think that the best way to kind of go about this would be to maybe we can kind of start collecting a little bit of feedback on kind of KIP12 now that it's seen its way through. And if folks want to share any of that feedback from kind of the understanding of what KIP12 was and what's come from it. Obviously that without some of that reporting we're going for, it'll be a little bit shooting from the hip, but we can go on ahead and open up the floor at least for some feedback. And if they've had the chance to read through the proposed extension, if there was something that they wanted to see in that as well. So I'm going to go on ahead and open up the phone lines if anyone wants to go on ahead and share some feedback on KIP12 or extension of KIP12.
Peso?
If there isn't much feedback on that, then we can also kind of go on ahead and just kind of move to open floor topics before getting into the happy hour, which I know everyone.
Did someone say my name?
Hi, Peso.
Did someone summon me? I legitimately am asking. Like, did Tay say Peso?
He did say Peso in case you want to provide your own commentary here.
So I don't even know what we're talking about. First of all, is it KIP12 like the reorg KIP?
KIP12, yeah, the reorg KIP
okay,
the CPL and CPL powers. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to recap, I think was like, I don't know. It was good. It's sort of not very different, to be completely honest, than what it was before, I'm moderately confident that sort of on the inside, like internally, the structure is more different than it was sort of pre-reorg. But from the outside looking in, the project basically functions the same way. I mean, even then, Jay-Z was basically CTO before he was appointed CTO. And then Hazard was like ambassador or something like that before he became CEO. So I think it would be really interesting to hear how it changed, how the reorg has affected things internally. Just for our own little knowledge, I guess, because from the outside looking in, it's been essentially identical, and I know there was a lot of thought that went into how things are structured and things like that. And it could just be useful for us to sort of hear those insights from team members.
Cool. Well, that's a really good kind of way to kick that off. For me specifically, as someone that, kind of, I would say, has gone through the full process of kind of community member to grantee to contributor to, kind of where we are now in this new space under the KIP12 reorg. I would say that the internal kind of coordination of products and not products of teams and communication has really been kind of a major part of this, where having kind of this streamlined leadership vision of aligning what our devs are doing and what our kind of operations folks are doing, as well as having what I would call kind of like a someone that is leading through kind of vision and really understands and communicates it with everybody has been really fantastic. I've before KIP12, I would say that I not as frequently got to talk with, say, Hazard or Joey about development and got to hear through there. So kind of from there, I mean, things like all hands meetings and getting to have individual one-on-ones with leadership has been fantastic. I as a contributor, I've really appreciated the change, and I would be 100% in favor of continuing. Just as someone that has kind of seen both sides of that.
Yeah, and I guess I can only speak to the one side in the month that I've been here, is that the communication between and amongst all the teams within the labs group has been incredible. There's kind of an open door policy. And your Hazard's readily available when we need to talk to him, but also we can check in with marketing and we can check in with the different facets of the DAO. So it's I think it's been incredible, and it's grown kind of organically and naturally, and it's just going to get better. And hopefully that will, kind of spill over to the community, so there's more streamlined communication, more access to the individuals you need to speak with, and so forth.
Yeah, I would say that we kind of went from, what I would call like a project-based or like an initiative-based kind of action to action to, Hazard has had a great way of encapsulating everything we do into a singular vision and working towards the same goal. So instead of, what I was doing previously, which, was a lot of this kind of community work that you see me still doing now, as well as kind of the, I'd focus on, okay, well, what happened this month? And that was kind of like the scope of my project vision, was like kind of the immediate future and recapping, and now looking at kind of what we're building towards this much bigger picture with this long-term view. I would say is a direct result of having the folks with that vision of where we're trying to take this protocol, driving through leadership and through enabling contributors to work towards those ends. So yeah, I can't say enough about the effort and work that Jay-Z and Hazard have put in this last quarter, and very excited to see that continue. Do we have anyone else that wants to ask any questions, I guess, of me or of folks, or provide any other feedback? Yeah, if not, we can kind of open the floor to a little kind of open discussion session as well, if folks have things that are on their mind that they want to discuss here at Town Hall. Preston, calling you up.
All right.
Hey guys.
Hey.
I have one question. Does the currently? I see that we keep bringing in more coordinators, which is great. Love to see it. Is there perhaps a certain number of coordinators that we're looking to secure and partner up with us? Or is it a never-ending amount of coordinators? Like, can we coordinate infinitely? Is there a perfect number? Just kind of looking for some understanding around the sizing of that opportunity, and if it's just a open door, or at some point we're like going to cut them off and be like, hey, we just need to get going, or just curious around that.
So can I ask you quickly for a clarification? When you say coordinators, you mean as in like full-time contributors, or are you talking about protocols that we
like
bring in?
the keepers that are going to be in the network coordinating and fulfilling orders and things of that nature?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. So keepers specifically, right now we feel that we went and got what I would consider kind of the very top end keepers out there. So I'm thinking that in terms of more, we can scale with more integrations, more order flow. But right now, like, I've seen the capabilities of what these folks can handle, and I think that while if more kind of extremely high end kind of MEV searchers as keepers want to join with us, I think that they'll be evaluated, and I wouldn't say that we're going to turn away extremely top end talent, but I'm going to say that we will never put ourselves in a position to not be able to fulfill the amount of order flow that comes through us. And so right now, I would say that we're not specifically, say, recruiting for more keepers specifically. What we are looking for is more market makers that are driving orders through us, more integrations that send transactions and order flow through the coordinator, and then driving individual users through our native apps, whether that's kind of trading and staking. So that would be kind of where I would see the next part of it headed. G-Man?
Excellent. Preston, excellent question.
Hey guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, I would say we're always looking for more, but I would say even now we have enough to reach that kind of escape velocity that we need to really make both sides happy, both the market makers and the keepers. Just with talking with all of our keepers, they already have confirmed that they're going to be doing a lot of things that market makers will really value, like give them kind of a backstop or a rebate for the case that the market actually goes against the market maker. So this is a new added security by going through KeeperDAO that they just can't really get anywhere else. And the keeper team is just incredible too, because they've been doing this for so long that they're even better at finding optimal routes for orders than the likes of 1inch or different aggregators. So I'm really excited to see them come together with the launch of the coordination game very soon.
Awesome. Yeah, great additional insight there, G-Man. I will say, I was fortunate to get to sit in on a call between Jay-Z and one of our kind of keeper entities, and just the as they go through this extended testing period, and as we identify edge cases and different small bugs that might pop up, the level of sophistication, as well as the excitement for what it's bringing, it's been so awesome. So I'm really pumped, and that was just one keeper conversation talking about things that we could develop in the future to help them out, and ideas that they had for improving our protocol. So just the collaboration between the keepers and our tech team has been awesome, and I'm really, really, really happy with the communication levels, with the ideas they bring to the table, as well as I would say their patience of helping us work through this development cycle, and so I've been as I said, just very happy with the keepers that we've got. They've been awesome. But thanks, Preston. Was there anything else? Nope. All right. Any other kind of open questions or kind of discussion topics that folks want to bring up while we have this?
Yeah.
Peso?
Where's yours?
Is anyone capable of explaining TUM for the people who might not know what it is or how it works? Because there's a KIP about it, and I think it would be beneficial to have sort of the community sort of educated on it to a certain extent. And I'm wondering if I mean I can, but like I would prefer if a team member did. So yeah, that's my question.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's really smart for you to have brought up too. For me, I was saving that topic because I would love to have those two engineers come and speak specifically about their proposal as well. But I in terms of explaining TUM, I would say Peso, you might even be able to explain it better than me. G-Man, would you want to take a shot at explaining the TUM technology?
I just posted the TUM in the voice chat as well for anyone who hasn't had a chance to look at it.
I haven't read the proposal yet, but I can just say that what it essentially is a more efficient way to just do really large orders that need to happen over a little bit of time. But I think it'll be better if we just save it for when they come on and can describe it themselves, since it's their product.
Yeah. So Peso, good question. Okay, here. Looks like you got a follow-up here.
All right, I'll explain to you where.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, let me just exit out of my game here. Okay, so the current problem in sort of large on-chain market orders, because that's what they're sort of targeting, is that you incur a large slippage, right? Or you sort of have like MEV problems, right? Where you can sort of get sandwiched because the slippage, while it might be tight, the magnitude of it is still profitable for keepers. And this is like a really butchered like explanation, but it's just in case you're really lazy and you don't want to read at all. Is what they do is essentially they package. It's basically like a Sablier stream sort of for your order, right? So let's say you want to convert $100 million of USDC into ETH. So instead of doing it in one go, it sort of does infinitely small bundles of transactions over the course of a specified period of time. So let's say it swaps like $1,000 worth of USDC into ETH every minute or so, right? Into the specified liquidity pool that you are targeting. And what that does is you can basically like you have less market impact, and then the value that they're trying to get from us is that when price falls below that spread, it needs to be the spread that market makers have, right? Because when you have these sort of small transactions, right, like the $1,000 of USDC into ETH every minute, it falls within the spread of the market maker. So you're essentially getting a better unit price per USDC spent, as opposed to if you were just to make a large limit order or something like that. But it's about keeping it within the spread. So that's what they're looking from us, is to have arbitrageurs. Essentially, whenever the price falls outside of the spread, we basically make it go back into the spread, either by buying or by selling the other asset in the trade. And then there's a lot of math, and then you might be like, this would be super gas expensive to sort of do these in like in an infinite amount of infinitely small transactions, but there's some math there, there's some magic as well. It works out. It's not gas expensive. I should have read more on it, but that's basically the sort of elevator pitch, is that it's a better way to transact on chain than any other alternative that is currently available. Yeah, I don't know. G-Man, I welcome you to sort of say that was a poor explanation, but I think it's better to sort of give better to give something than to just sort of, that's my opinion at least.
Yeah, Peso, thanks always for hopping up and giving a quick overview of that. I will say that from what, my understanding of it is that, our platform is like very specifically the best for this type of a product, where most things that we operate on is based off of arbitrage as well. And the more arbitrage opportunities that happen and more people working on arbitrage makes this product more efficient as well. And so, for folks, like you said, like extremely large buyers on chain, or, maybe for DAOs that are looking to rebalance large treasuries, or that need to pay back, major loans on chain or something like that, and have to swap large assets. For me, this looks like something that just kind of feels like a no-brainer that fits in with what we're doing. And I know that, the reputation of the two engineers building this is they're very well respected folks that are building this as well.
Looks like J-Dog has a question that he put in chat regarding whether this integration is an exclusively integration with KD. I don't know. Actually, I would imagine that it's not. There's no. Do we really do binding exclusive agreements with one? I'm probably guessing no, but it's not stipulated in the KIP. So we'll have to ask them.
Nothing in crypto is really exclusive, because everything's open source. But what's happening here is we're getting a really, really tight relationship. And that is basically all you can ask for in crypto, and will still make us the leading entity in this really important part of making decentralized finance more efficient.
Thanks, G-Man. Appreciate it. All right.
I also will say that the elevator pitch that Queso did was really great. It's hard to break these things down sometimes. Jay-Z just explains everything with a ton of detail, and I think a lot of these things we need to start having different levels of descriptions and explanations, and I just think it was really great.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was very articulate.
So let's go on ahead and at least make another call for any other kind of open forum topics. Well, I do see that our CEO is here. Hazard, if you do want to come up, and I'll just quickly recap that we reintroduced the draft of the extension of KIP 12, but we haven't really gotten much into it yet because of the reporting that will be coming up. And I didn't want to speak too much for our leadership team, as they're the ones that are that this kind of defined some of their kind of powers within the DAO as well. Exciting opportunity. Yeah, Preston. Yeah, I think so too. I'm really excited to kind of see the more from the TWAM guys as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just really perfect for us because really what we're trying to solve is just making everything more efficient, and it's really hard for people that are performing big orders on chain to deal with the issues of slippage. And that's exactly what we do is we deal with those issues in a way that nobody else can. So even if it's not something that is exclusionary to us, we're the only ones that can really bring it to fruition with the abilities we've already developed now.
Yeah, and so I would again say that if anyone hasn't yet gotten the opportunity, don't just look at the draft of the KIP that they posted. I would really recommend reading their monthly updates that they write, and you can kind of read into the process that's going in and the research that's gone into kind of why this technology is being built and why it's valuable as well. So those links are all included in the background section of their draft as well. So yeah, I would highly recommend anyone to go read through those in their spare time as well.
Yeah, I did post some reading in the voice chat as well. There's really good content out there. It's like, welcome on stage, Hazard.
Hey, hi everybody. I wanted to say I haven't been able to. I just was involved with something else and just popped in here. We were talking about TWAM. Glad to see G-Man's up here. I don't know what has been said, so I won't add anything except to say that the two people that are working on this project are very interesting people with a lot of experience, and as an engineer, they're doing this in a very rigorous, evidence-based way. They're very professional, and I would echo the sentiment to go take a look at some of their blog posts and see how they're putting this together. It's quite good because this has been something that has existed on paper for a number of months, and which anybody who's taken a sort of something from paper from the blackboard into like a real productionized piece of infrastructure, product, or anything really, will know how difficult that transition actually is. And so I think they're going about it in a really great way. So really excited to have them talk more about this and work more with them on this.
Thanks, Hazard. While we have you up here, do you want to just give any additional color to the announcement that you posted about your KIP 12 extension draft?
Sure. Yeah. So as should be known, like the KPI today is the end of yesterday at midnight UTC was the end of the effective period for KIP 12, and essentially the end of the quarter. And so that means that some powers that had been delegated are now no longer delegated, and that's good. It's a good point for us to take a look at progress over the quarter, which includes some things that maybe people don't know about or haven't been really had a chance to communicate. We've been doing a lot of sprinting, and so I think in KIP 12 it does make mention of the possibility to extend. We chose what we felt would be sort of in discussions at the time as well, sort of the shortest possible length before we would kind of pause and assess for that one quarter. Obviously, wasn't to be the end all be all, but that was when we would sort of pause and assess. And so that time has come. And so that's what we're hopefully going to be spending some time on next week, and kind of theming some of these calls around, and some other discussions to make sure that this materials for quarterly reporting, a lot of digested numbers and things to help everybody here get a lot more insight. And it's not really, the perfect way to do this. We're going to be, the perfect way to do this is something that you're not going to get right on the first try, but we're going to have as much as we can turned out, and we can all kind of dig into it and gut check it and see how we feel like this quarter has gone and what's been accomplished, and whether it makes sense to do this again. And then as we go, build up a more robust system for communications, and making sure these quarterly reports and other kinds of things like that happen on a more regular basis, which is now possible, fortunately, because we have some more personnel, some more processes in place that we didn't before. So yeah, TLDR, next week, there's going to be some meetings and a big report. It's going to get released, shared with everybody. We can all talk about it, jam on it, and if it looks good, then we can think about reviewing that extension, and then taking that forward. But first, we really do have to take a look back and see, like, okay, was this even worth it for this first quarter? So yeah, that's the gist of it.
Awesome. And if you hadn't seen, I think you even teased out some of our key highlights. If you look at our contributorship, and the amount of especially engineering talent that's been brought in over this quarter has been fantastic, and that was enabled by this. And we look at the integrations that we've brought in, and having you be a major part of those. I mean, there's not much more positive things I can say, because for me, as somebody, the leadership has been fantastic. So
this is less. I see this as much less about me as a person. It's really a team effort. It truly is. The team we had in January was phenomenal, and it was about unlocking that team's potential and making sure that they could actually achieve the goals of all the stakeholders in the DAO, everything that everybody here wants to see happen. And they couldn't do that alone, and that's why we have done a lot of work to grow that team, and hope to continue to grow that team with additional superstars and great talent. So I mean, it's really a team effort. The work that's being done is extraordinary, and I'm so looking forward to having more of it out there, and being able to start talking more about some of the things that are in progress. So yeah, I mean, that sort of that preview. I mean, just to give my perspective is that, yeah, we've doubled the size of the team. We've halved the number of products that we have to maintain, to streamline and focus in on the things that are really going to win. The big wins, right? And we've increased our partnerships integrations by 700%. Emissions pending KIP 19 are going to be zeroed out. No more minting and emitting for whatever. And there's so many other just really good things that have been happening inside of the org to make it ready for that next leap. That just really excited to share some of those, and share some of the plans and priorities we would have for the next quarter. But that's definitely something that we should come to through a big discussion with a lot more information. So that's what that's what I was doing right before jumping on this call. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Great.
why don't we go on ahead and open this up for any last little bit of feedback, or kind of open discussion. And if we don't have much more to talk about today, I'd be pretty excited at least to start our next event early. Taylor, I don't know how you feel about that, but
Yeah, I think it'd be fantastic.
So speak now if you've got anything else that you want to share for for town hall here today that we want to discuss as a community. And if not, then we'll go on ahead and move to the next event, which is a little happy hour. But Peso, looks like you've got a comment for us. I'm calling you up.
I'm just looking for a temperature check on how the community or whoever in the call feels about selling our maple that we've been farming for something sort of a little more productive for us. Maybe some toke and then allocating a certain N amount of Rook for bribes to make sure that we get a reactor. Or maybe just sell the maple, buy a Rook, maybe sell the maple and just USDC or whatever. But that's basically the core idea, is just selling the maple that we have farmed into something a little more closely aligned with our product.
I'm happy to open this discussion topic up. So it sounds like your opinion would be that we should sell for something, sell for X, and we should determine that X. So, my thought would be that, unfortunately, Matt's not here to talk a little bit more about broader strategy. But as I've said about kind of any of our assets, I'd love to see us have a strategy in place before we decide to do something. I wouldn't want to decide to do something and then have to build the strategy, and then it just doesn't seem like an efficient route for that.
I can speak to this because there's been a lot of good suggestions over the last few months, and really since I got into the community about can we please use our assets to generate more assets, and it's been really difficult to do that in a nice agile way, right? I think everybody's been frustrated with that at one time or another. Even in the non-agile things, like can we earn yield on our USDC or on our ETH or something, stuff that's seemingly straightforward seems to be difficult, right? That's something I'm aware of, and others are aware of too. I think, unfortunately, we've had to prioritize other things over that for part of this quarter, and that's something that'll come out in the report, what those priorities are and stuff, and hopefully we'll be able to talk more about priorities in advance for the next quarter and stuff. But yeah, it's a priority for the next quarter to figure out all of this treasury stuff, and so there's a KIP now, I think, for a budget process. There's another one that we're working on to have sort of a more agile framework for how this is done, that Matt's been putting a lot of work into, along with some others. And I know people may roll their eyes at, more frameworks, but it's going to be really nice because it'll kind of let us say, okay, here's our high risk bucket, here's our medium risk bucket, here's our low risk bucket, here's how much we're doing on each, and then really set kind of targets and cadences for when we kind of check in, when we rebalance, when we reposition, and it'll be easier to bring people into that process and incorporate these new ideas and stuff. And I know it's frustrating that there's just a ton of tokens just sitting there essentially doing nothing, whether it's Maple or any other stuff, right, that we have. And it's been slow moving for sure. It needs to be more agile. It's just been hard. And for this, it's frameworks and stuff are really because we want to move cautiously, because this is such an important resource, and it's in a sense it's it's the value that all of us have stewardship over, and it's going to help drive this project and all of us as stakeholders. So we just have to we're being extra cautious on it. But that's something I would say definitely ask or look to Matt to clarify more. And then this is a big priority for it would be a big priority for the next quarter, is to get this framework really going and humming along, because these questions are good, and this will all help a lot for some of the things that we want to do. We just need to get the right system in place for doing that, which has been a struggle for sure. I mean, so what I guess I'm saying is, if you wanted to do that temperature check, you could kip it and everything, and if it, passed and everything, then maybe we would, but it'd be kind of like one-off and sort of janky repositioning, and I know that whole process kind of sucks, right? And so, like, this is more about, like, for the future, that process needs to be a little bit easier, better, and that is something that Matt's definitely working on.
Awesome. Thanks for adding some clarity there as well, in a way that I couldn't articulate. All right. Does anyone else have any feedback here on that, or additional comments that they want to share?
Or even the broader DeFi situation with the EU passing the custodial wallet situation.
Yeah, I really feel for folks. That just seems very anti-innovative and just is ridiculous. But
next week we'll have a speaker come in. He's an advisor to a Rary fork. He helped found the grants committee at Bankless. He's an attorney out of Italy, and he'll be attending a meeting. I'm going to schedule that, so it'd be really good to have a lot of the community members there. Ask as many questions as you want about anything regulatory, even around liquidity. He's pretty much an expert in the space, so it'll be really fun next week as well, just to give you that heads up.
nice. Wes, you hopped up. What's your thoughts?
In regards to laws against self-hosted wallets, not your keys, not your coins. I think everyone here is familiar with that. Just yeah, custodians. Being a custodian comes with responsibility of your own money, and everyone should know how to be that custodian.
Yeah, I think the implication is that all non-custodial wallets will be KYC'd essentially. I'm not sure what the broader implications will look like or how that policy will roll out, but it'll be interesting to watch. And I think that as a DAO, we should monitor things like that if anyone's interested, because it will have impact on the broader network.
Did it get passed or not?
It did pass today, from what I'm reading or read. I know last time it went to vote, didn't pass. The subsequent vote did, however.
I'm not entirely sure if that's correct, but I do believe that there still has another level of clearance to go through. Also, just to add a quick flavor, it doesn't require all non-custodial wallets to have KYC, but it requires centralized exchanges to collect info on any non-custodial wallets that they interact with. So you would still be able to use your non-custodial wallet on chain, when you interact with a SEX. It just adds some level of obviously information.
Yeah, it's just difficult because how many wallets have touch points with a SEX? At some point, you have to if you're gonna divest. So I don't know. It's a very interesting policy, a framework. It's very, very wild.
I mean, yeah. Hopefully that gets overturned at some point. But,
I mean, to be honest, I thought that a lot of that stuff was already happening here in the United States as well. If you think about how kind of oversight between different state-run or government-run agencies work to recover or find out financial crimes that happen digitally. I would have assumed that some of that kind of happened without many people really understanding what was going on.
Probably, but also the current law would also require any transaction over $1,000 euros. I'm actually sure what the denomination, probably euros then. 1,000 euros would be directly need to be forwarded to the AML authorities. So it basically assumes a level of basically assumes you're guilty before you even proven. So it just assumes a level of guilt within any crypto actor. So the issue is that the EU doesn't really have that level of rich crypto advocacy that the US has.
Yeah, I absolutely love that Priest. It's interesting too because I think it's just going to create another regulatory implication where you have structured deposits and they're going to have to start making banks file SARs on structured deposits for KY, like those types of transactions that are under 1,000 and so forth. It'll be interesting to see how that framework rolls out, and I don't think it's going to be very successful and very quick. So,
if you still wanna use SEC, then you can probably just transfer it to your own non-custodial wallet and have that whitelisted and do whatever you want from there. But it's still horrible for a user experience when they might not want to have to use an extra wallet to do transfers.
Yeah, it maybe adds a complicated layer to new entrants, but that is a really good point there, G-Man.
Priest, a question for you. How does this impact like off ramping? Let's say we have several like European contributors. They need to pay their rent and stuff. Like, will they still be able to?
Not really an expert on this, but I'm assuming they would still be able to if they follow all the compliance issues that need to be put in place. So I think it does not really that much of an issue if you're willing to give away that information, but it is if you're not willing to. So.
Yeah, it just requires you to be forthcoming and go through the KYC process, which none of us want to do, which most of us have done if we trade on Binance or Coinbase anyway. But nevertheless, it does put that added layer of pressure.
You're saying that I now have to register all 9 of my Deets alts? That's unfortunate.
I just move somewhere else besides the EU, honestly.
Yeah, can't you have like some bank in Dubai or whatever and just send it there?
Yeah, it's happened offshore exchange, like different banks, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be ways around this. It just sucks that the EU is like missed Web 2, now missing Web 3. It's just like really unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Maybe we should post the piece of legislation in the DAO, and so we can kind of pick it apart. It's very actually interesting and like similar to U.S. legislation, written in a way that's very broad and like very very open for interpretation. So it's you can imagine a variety of outcomes.
Can you imagine the first rounds of case law and setting precedent?
No, this is a mess for the legal community. Like, I mean, they're actually raking in tons of money because there are very few people that specialize in crypto regulation and in like crypto transactions generally. So the firms that are starting to move over are just killing it. From like just setting up simple LLCs and legal entities to structuring like, offshore bank accounts and everything. But there are a number of ways to do it. You can set up Swiss entity. It's called the DAA. It's a decentralized autonomous organization or association. Basically, you don't have to dox yourself. It's one of the very few really cool entities that very few people know of, but it kind of slipped within the confines of the Swiss legislation. So it's really interesting. So if anyone's curious about regulation, we can have a regulatory session perhaps.
Is that how Opolis works?
Yes, yeah, they do offer that service where you can do it through them. I think they require you to have an agent, but I'm not sure. Like in most cases, it makes the most sense just to create a Delaware Corp, but this particular DAA is very, very unique because it skirts by the law, very, very well crafted by some really out of the box thinking attorneys. But sorry to take us off topic here, Deets.
No, I think that this is an interesting thing, and it seems like someone like me is getting educated on, which I've heard multiple things I didn't know about already. So hopefully, some people are finding some similar value. All right. Well, does anyone have any last comments, thoughts, ideas before we go on ahead and sign off?
And we will head into voice, right, Deets?
Yeah, so why don't we go on ahead into voice? I'm going to go visit my refrigerator as well as my freezer, and crash something fun. And for folks that want to hang around for a little happy hour, and I think we might even have some fun games to play. Yeah, we'll be over in general right below. And thanks again for another solid town hall, and hope you all look forward to the conversations next week. I know that for me they're very important for us moving forward, and I hope we see solid participation out of that. But we'll go on ahead and close this one out. Hope everybody has a great upcoming weekend, and here's to a successful Q2 for the entire DAO here. All right, well, thanks everyone.
Cheers, everyone. See you in a sec.